Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Ton142 here, and today's video I'm bringing you guys kind of the end of set 4.5 fates, comp tier list, and some general tips if you're trying to make that last minute climb. I'm currently sitting at like Masters 200 LP, so I don't know if I'm gonna actually climb the GM or not. Depends on if I feel like it, but set 5 is out on PBE, so I've only played about 5 games on that, and it's quite different from the set 4. So, but anyways, enough about set 5. We're gonna talk about if you want to do some last minute climbing. Here are some of the best comps I've come up with. I made this tier list like I'd say like a month to 2 months ago, but over time as the patches have changed, we start flipping some comps and some comps get better while some comps get worse. So I'm gonna just dive right into it. I have a spreadsheet that's all laid out. I'll probably link it in the description. Um, Feel free to reference it or use it. I create some little chess boards for you guys for positioning, and I'll get into each comp in a little bit. So just for introduction, just some good notes. For your early game, I like to slam value items. What I mean by value items is value items are items that are going to kind of save you HP, and they kind of give you a direction on what comp to go. So like Chalice, Morello, like Hodge is good, GA. GA doesn't make a difference in the fight, but it at least gives you a component that's important for like Slayers, a soul carry for mages. Um, so it's good to just slam some of these items early. And as I said before, when you slam these items, you gotta start thinking about some of the carry champions that could start using these early game components. So if you slam like a Spark, really get into mage comps or anybody that does magic damage like Neko, Kennen. Uh, like you guys start thinking about the tools that these components can be tools for your end comp. In terms of transition comps, these are some of my favorite transition comps. I've got 6 cultists. If you get 6 cultists, you get a cultist chosen or a keeper chosen. You manage to get 6 cultists. It's good to fast 8. You don't have to roll at 7. You could probably save a lot of HP if you got like a Callista carry or you're running like keepers. You got some sharpshooters in there. I noticed 4 duelists, really good. It starts to fall off around stage 7, so you might lose a little bit of HP, but it definitely gets you to stage 7 decently healthy if you find the right components and you got the right champions. Um, Sharpshooters with frontline, generally pretty good. Easily transition to any Sivir comp. Depending on your item components, it could save you a lot of HP as well. If you got like 4 sharps and a chosen sharp, or you got like a beefy frontline. I guess one other comp is brawlers. If you just run brawlers with Shyvana carry, you just slam all your carry items on Shyvana and you transition to Slayers or something. Always really good. One of my favorite to do is Spirit Kindred. You run like 2 Spirit or 4 Spirit, depending on what chosen you hit. Kindred's your item holder. You can transition that into Divine and into Kale. So Kale's going to use RFC, um, Rage Blade, GA, Hodge, uh, Death Cap, Jewel Gauntlet, QSS. So any of those items can be held by Kindred or any other carry. So really, like most people already know the comp already, but these are just some of the general tips that I found that help me climb quite a bit. I have less than 200 games on set 4.5, so if that tells you anything, I know that some people are, hitting like the 800 game mark, and it's kind of insane how much people have played this set compared to me. But yeah, I just didn't, once I hit Masters, it was kind of like I just didn't feel the need to climb anymore, even though I probably could have grinded it out to GM, but I just didn't want to spend the time. And then this last category is just hit comps. So these are comps where you kind of need to just hit the right chosen in order to play it. And I feel like Neko is probably the comp that fits under this tier. And then there's kind of Kennen. If you hit like a chosen keeper Kennen, then you definitely probably want to play Kennen if you got the components. If you get like another keeper chosen, it could be good if you're already re-rolling. You have the components, and you could easily 3-star one of those champions. So Neko is really specific just because you gotta hit the right chosen. It's gotta be like a Mystic Neko or Vanguard um, Nautilus, and you also gotta hit an early Cho'Gath, who's Fabled Brawler. So um, really specific, but enough about these notes. We're gonna get into my tier list. So I have S tier, A tier, and I had the B tier and then the C tier. There's only one comp that I left off, and I didn't bother putting it in because I feel like it's easily countered, but it's still like a considered reroll comp. I put it probably in the A tier. If you just, and that's one of those comps where you just have to hit. It's a Tristana Spirit reroll comp. You play Tristana with 4 sharpshooters, 3-star sharp, 3-star Tristana, 3-star Diana, 3-star Teemo, 3-star. Pretty much your whole board. You slam lockets on your Diana. You get all your damage items on Tristana, and it's just a crank, right? So got positioned really well for that comp, and that's one comp I did leave out. So I could probably make a board of it and put it in the description, but um, I guess we'll just start from the top bottom. I have Kale as my top comp. Kale, Olaf, and Slayers. Soul, 7 Mages, Soul, Shyvana, and Dragon Soul. These are my top 4 comps to play right now. These will give you a win if you hit well and you play your board. These are comps where you could probably go hit 9 um, and you get a fully capped board. In the A tier, we have A plus, and I have A and then A minus. A plus, I put Sivir Sharpshooter, so that's like 3-star Sivir with 4 sharps, with Mystic and the Keeper and Vanguard. Kennen, it's Kennen Keeper, so 6 Keepers plus 3 Elderwood, and you can run Executioner if you want, or Vanguards, whatever values left. And then Neko. Neko definitely counters a lot of these comps. In the A tier, I did put Tristana. I think there's a different Tristana carry. 7 Mage, Soul, Warlords. Warlords has fallen off a lot. And then at the bottom tier, these are kind of comps you don't really want to play. Elderwood, Soul, Zaya. That was like a very early set comp. I've seen it work top 4, but it doesn't actually exactly win a lot of games. I'd say in lane Talon Morgana, if you manage to 3-star it, this is actually like, if you manage to 3-star Talon, 3-star Morg, or if you just get good value, if you just hit early too, this can easily become like a A plus tier comp. If you get 4 Siphoner, it just kind of depends on what items you get and what chosen you get. So we'll look at the boards. This is the first board. This is the Executioner Kale comp. This is probably one of the better comps to run. So there's a lot of different variations you could run with it. The board that I have shown here, you just have 2 Spirit, you have 3 Zeeks for the attack speed so that you don't have to get the Rage Blade, and you just throw a Jewel Gauntlet on Kales, that way she has damage. It's always, I think the best in slot though is probably QSS, RFC, and Guinsu's Rage Blade instead of this, and then you could just put like, if you have Chalices or anything, you could run that, but yeah, you want to run this sort of front line. This is the Vanguard version of it. You could also run the Adept version of it, where you could have Yone instead of Aatrox, and Azir instead. If you don't have QSS, you could run Azir and use the soldiers to position. So there's a lot of different variations of this comp. I really like Aatrox and Sejuani right now. They're just really good frontline units. And if you get like a Divine Spat, Zaya can hold as your secondary item. So any other like offensive items that you have, you can just slap them on Zaya and she'll be a good secondary carry. If you hit Yone, also really strong. If you have like Blue Buff, Jewel Gauntlet, pretty much any other items that you could get, since Yone is a diver. So this comp has a lot of good balance. It's got 2 Mystic, you got Spirit, you got Vanguard. You could also hit like 3 Adept. You could hit like Keepers as well. So pretty flexible comp. Moving on to the next one. I think this was Slayer and Friends with Olaf. Um, I don't know if this is the best in slot in Olaf anymore. It's Deathblade, RFC, and Runans. You could probably just drop the RFC and just put GA, honestly. But GA helps him sustain, and you just want to frontline him like this. But this creates a scenario where you have 3 Slayers, 3 Dragon Souls, 2 Sharpshooters with the Samira. You would really want to stack the Samira and Olaf as your 2 carries, and any other items you put on Swain. Got Siphoner in, Sejuani Aatrox, of course, really good value. And this comp pops off if you manage to hit everything. This board is pretty expensive, but Olaf is a crank when you get him, and Samira, of course, level 2, 2-star is always going to be a good comp to run. If you manage to not hit, if you don't really care about the Dragon Soul, to be honest, you could just drop Morgana. You could drop if you never want to bet on hitting both legendary costs. So if you're down to hit a Slayer Chosen, like let's just say you hit a Slayer Olaf, you could actually get put a Darius Zed and run 6 Slayer like that. Oh no, Tryndamere over Zed. So you can end up just running this board. Generally, sometimes you might not always hit the Samira right away, so you just stack the Tryndamere instead or the Olaf. So these 3 units are going to be your main carries. And then here you could just throw in any Sharpshooter that you get. Preferably you get Sivir, because then you get rounded out with Cultist. But these are like Samira is just kind of like if you hit it, you hit it. It's good. You could always transfer the items, but Tryndamere and Olaf are going to be your bread and butter for this comp. This is one of my favorite comps. This is like if I had to choose one comp to run 15 out of 20 times, it would be this comp. You run 7 mages if possible. If you get a soul, um, you're set. Best in slot GA Jewel Gauntlet Gunblade. This is a 9. If you only go to 8, you get rid of Morgana. I like to spread out my boys like this, just so that in case of Aatrox pulls, it pulls the Brand and it pulls the Lulu. A lot of times I'll actually, if I don't hit a mage chosen, I'll drop down to 5 mages and I'll just run a good front line, whether it be set, Azir soldiers, Sejuani Aatrox. So again, just good value front line. This comp does get capped when you hit a Mage Swain and you hit like if you get Ornn items, you want to put whatever good Ornn item onto Swain. So like Zhonya's, I've seen like Triforce even pop off. Um, Anything that helps Swain sustain and live longer because Mage Cap Swain is broken. But Aesol is going to be your main carry, and then Swain when you hit him. And everybody else is just secondary. If you get Chalices or Zeeks, you want to make sure you buff the Aesol so he casts faster and more powerful. I've got the 6 Dragon Soul comp. Kind of similar to that Slayer comp, except you're kind of playing around Aesol again. This is about Aesol Mage. Shyvana is a good early game item holder, so you got Hodge. I've definitely played 3-star Shyvana through this and just totally ditched the mages and just stacked my Shyvana. You end up just wanting to play like I guess some brawlers. I've definitely gone to like 2 brawlers for Shyvana, and then I just play some slayers, so like Olaf and Tryndamere and Pike, just to get 3 slayers in there with Shyvana. And so this comp is definitely really flexible with Dragon Soul. You're just kind of playing around Shyvana, who could be a really good item holder, and whatever other offensive items you have, you can put on Olaf or Tryndamere or any other slayers once you get the 3 slayers in. So honestly, you don't really need the mages, but um, if you manage to get the slayers in, it's good physical damage. Down to one of my other favorite comps, Sharpshooter Sivir. So this comp is a capped board. These are the exact units and position that you want. I like to position the pocket for Sivir, QSS. Uh, Last Whisper just helps shred the units faster, but I have seen Last Whisper, Double Hodge, if you're feeling lucky. Aatrox and Sejuani are a must in this comp because they are your only 2 frontline units. Usually you can run a Mystic besides Zillion, but once you hit Zillion, that will give you Cultist. And then Yumi and Teemo are a must because it gives you Sivir, extra Sivir attack speed. So it gives your whole team extra attack speed. You can run Tristana, Nidalee, pretty much any sharpshooter until you hit Sivir or Samira. And then once you hit Samira, I guess it's like you could just put whatever offensive items you have left on her, but your main carry is going to be Sivir, and she cranks out so much damage if you manage to get Spirit. going with Zeke's and Chalice and start buffing her up. So you really want to itemize for Sivir. This is kind of one of those cons where you just got to kind of hit Sivir, chosen Sharpshooter preferably, and then you kind of have to gauge, well, can I transition my board easily? Um, and I've even seen some comps where they use keepers, but Azir just helps with the soldiers. You could move them around, and um, depending on who's Zephyring and Aatrox pulling, you could protect your server as best as possible. So I like this pocket, but you could definitely switch sides if you need to. Another one of my favorite comps, Keeper Kennen. Definitely got a lot of top fours with this comp. Actually, this is not very optimal positioning. I'll show you what the optimal positioning is. I like this positioning. So instead of Last Whisper, I think the best in slot is actually GA. Let me get rid of that. It's GA. I just put my Sand Soldiers like this. And then you just play kind of whatever value is left over. So let's just say, let's Sejuani. Sejuani is always a good choice to have in this comp. So this is a fully capped board. Keeper, you want to reroll for Kennen for a 3-star. Kennen, if possible, you get 3-star Jarvan. Rakan as well. Ornn for extra Ornn items, and Xayah is your secondary carry. To double Hodge, Xayah with GA, she's almost unkillable, and you won't lose by too many units, which is why it's a really good top 4 comp. Aatrox is also much must because he pulls in units. In the case that you don't get a Keeper Kennen, and you get like a Vanguard Aatrox or Cultist Aatrox, definitely try to 3-star your Aatrox. That could also be another win condition, because 3-star Aatrox slaps. Um, Honestly, this doesn't really matter, but this is the optimal positioning, and then you just swap sides. Xayah gets better protection, I feel like, in this corner, but you lose a keeper value because of the diamond, the reverse, I guess, triangle that you have here. It doesn't get as much keeper value, so I like this side just because most people position their KLs on either top right or top left. Kennen can always reach here, and Aatrox can always pull if they don't have QSS. Put the Sand Soldiers back here just because some people run Aatrox, and they'll pull these instead of your other backline units. This is Neko. This is my version of Neko. I know there's a lot of different other types of Neko, but this works the same way as Ari from set 4. Neko, I put Gunblade, so pretty much ASOL items. You want to buff it up with Chalice on Yumi. I put Cho'Gath here just because he's a beefy boy. And you're running 4 Vanguards. I like the 4 Mystic version just because a lot of people run Mages, but Ornn items, you want Ornn. You can always run like Garen, Wukong, or any other Vanguard in place too. The reason why I put Yumi here is because she'll probably dash over to the lowest health unit, which is probably going to be on this side, and then she's going to buff the Neko. So you can always put the Janna, I guess, like here. I just put Janna here because in case of other people who use ASOL, she's like a good free decoy instead of targeting the Neko. Neko might get pulled in, which is why you have Gunblade, but otherwise, um, position like this, you're going to be safe. It's a hit or miss comp, once again, and Neko needs to actually land her bubbles for you to actually win some fights. Kind of RNG based, which is why I don't run it a whole lot, but I have seen it work. Alright, for Sharpshooters. This is just strictly Vanguard, Mystic Sharpshooters. I've won a lot of games with Tristana carry. I've got Rageblade, Last Whisper, QSS, optimal items. Don't even have Spirit, but if you have Zeke's, probably don't need a whole lot of Spirit. It cranks out damage like crazy. If you 3-star to Tristana, Samira is always good to pick up. You just put any extra items on Samira. Again, this comp isn't as optimal as the other 4 Sharpshooter comp, but it definitely could get you a top 4 if you manage to hit like the 3-star Trist early and stuff. This is just another variation of the 7 Mage carry. So again, if you get like a Dragon Soul Chosen or something, you don't have to run Shyvana. But if you have like a Chosen Annie, Mage Annie, then you just stack her as your only frontline. Let's just say you don't hit Swain, you don't have a Mage Spat. Well, you could use Azir to bait, right? with the Sand Soldiers, and you just want to protect your ASOL at all costs. So it's pretty similar to other 7 Mage comp. 9 Elderwood, this was the early set 4.5 comp to go to. Uh, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You just try to get Elderwood chosen, Elderwood spat, and you are good. Maokai's up here because in case of Sejuani's, you don't want them walking forward towards your main cluster, otherwise it's going to stun your entire team. Um, so Maokai helps move the enemy units down to the left side instead of the right side. Rakan with Sunfire Cape helps with some anti-heal. Otherwise, you're just protecting Aesol and Zaya. That's pretty much it. If you hit 9, it's always nice to hit Azir, but you could definitely hit 9 Elderwood at 8, level 8. I think I just opened up this twice. So this is the last comp I'm going to go over. This is Talon Morgana. So Swain, Morgana, really good. If you hit like an Adept Chosen, it's probably the best one to get. Best in slot Talon, I think, is Last Whisper, i.e. GA. Got your Assassin buff. So this is just a set 4 comp, except you're wearing Swain instead of Lux because you need Siphoner. If you 3-star Morgana, she will destroy your whole team. The real carry of this comp is really Morgana. So any AP items, put on Morgana. Yone, if you manage to hit early, I like these items, Blue Buff and Gunblade, but realistically, you're going to want to play around on Morgana, so Morello is a must. I know if anybody could use a Spark, that's good. I'd say if you manage to put some Chalices on Morg, it probably can position like something like this. Really strong. Morgana is your carry in Talon. And then if you're lucky enough, you'll hit Swain for a Siphoner. Otherwise, you just gotta run Nasus, which Nasus will give you Divine for Irelia, but Divine only affects 1 unit, so it doesn't really matter. Um, so yeah, just quickly ran through all the comps that I pretty much play in about 22 minutes. So hopefully you guys found that useful. Let me know what you guys are running. I did put C tier as the reroll comps. Reroll in Italy is no longer very good unless you just like natural it within like 4 shots, 5 shots. It's not worth like being at stage 4 or 5 and still rerolling for Nidalee, right? It doesn't work too well. The spreadsheet, I have the best carousel openers. I have some preferred chosens here. So as you can see, like Kale, you want Executioner Kale, Divine Kale, Executioner Spirit. These are just like the most optimal builds that you could have. And good players will be able to recognize when they need to pick up other unit chosens and still get the same results. So like Olaf Slayer is obviously the best. But if you get like a Tryndamere Duelist, it's probably also really good because with Duelist you could run like Lee Sin, and if you get a Duelist bet, that's 4 Duelists, and that'll just make your Tryndamere even more of a crank, right? So you just gotta see how flexible some of these comps are. And then I also listed some of the different variations you could have. So again, with the Talon Morgana comp, you could have Adept Chosen, but you could use Vanguards, you could use Siphoner Chosens. Mages are also very flexible, so there's a lot of different variations you guys can go over. But most people by this time are probably wrapping up the set. But these are just some last minute tips. I thought I'd just make a guide real quick since I had this spreadsheet just sitting on my computer for about a month and a half and I never actually released it. So gonna share it with you guys now, and I'm gonna wrap up the video here. So if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to like, subscribe. I post a lot of Warzone and TFT gameplays. Might try to grind a little bit more on set 5, depending on how the set goes. Right now, I have no idea what some of the units do, and the synergies are all whack because it's really flexible. Um, so definitely gotta learn and figure out the comps there. But yeah, good luck on your climb with set 4.5 with I think like 2 weeks remaining. And I'll see you guys in the next video.